Dr. RJB, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the environment of food. Um, you know, people are concerned about pollution and saving the environment, and most of the time they're talking about things like windmills for renewable energy or something like that. But there's also an environment problem with our food. The person who lives, not too far from a pig farm knows exactly what I mean by the environment of food. There is just an odor that occurs at a pig farm that is undeniable. If you ever drive down the road and all of a sudden you get this horrible smell, start looking around for the pig farm. It's probably within a short distance away. Pigs just have an odor about them. There's an odor also with a horse farm. It's a different odor, but you can recognize the odors of these animals. So that's one of the environment that I'm talking about. The other is this fact. Horses, pigs, cows do not sit on the potty chair. They just go on the ground. Okay, so all that excrement just kind of stays there and basically is absorbed into the ground. Now, in some cases, the farmer will scrape up that material because he wants to use it as fertilizer in his fields. But if he uses it in the field or in the pig farm, doesn't much matter because either way it's going to go into the ground. And so the rain comes, it washes all that stuff into the ground, and you got whatever is in that to go into the groundwater. Frequently when we're trying to raise animals for feed, we give them hormones to make them grow faster. So those hormones can be excreted by the animal and go into the ground. Now, they do some testing about this. They look for these hormones in water supplies, and they haven't noticed any huge quantities of these hormones, but there are some. So this is something that's kind of a small amount of pollution. It's not just cows and pigs either. Chickens, same thing. You got a hen house that has so many chickens put in place. Of course they have to go to the bathroom, and of course this once again is going to go into the groundwater. Fish, they got to have an excrement too. It goes into the sea. So fish farming usually occurs in the ocean or in a pond, and either way it's going to cause some problem with that area. If you're growing oysters or fish in a fish farm, whatever is excreted goes into the water of the ocean. So the water right in that area is going to be fouled a bit. There have been some techniques of trying to help to clean the water. There are some animals that have a natural ability to do this. There are also some plants that have a natural ability to do this. They use that material as their food source or their fertilizer source. That can sometimes help some of these things. The other thing about raising animals is you got to feed them. And then the problem is this. You take, let's say, corn, and you feed it to the cow. That's not a one-to-one ratio of energy in the corn to the energy of the cow. There's some loss with that. So in other words, to build muscle in the cow takes a certain amount of corn for the cow to eat and process to make the cow's muscle. Basically, the cow has to eat a certain amount of hay, corn, soybean, and all this goes into the cow, but it doesn't go into us. So the question is then, why not just eat the corn, eat the soybeans ourselves, and then we would get 100% of the energy instead of, let's just say, 50% of the energy or 75% of the energy from the cow because of the losses from the corn or soybean to the cow and then from the cow to us. The process of digestion is not perfect, in other words. So the cow digesting the corn, we digest the cow. Each process is wasteful, as opposed to if we just ate the corn, we wouldn't lose that intermediates of the cow. So the vegetarians, the vegans recommend that we eat more plant material because this way we're not wasting food by giving it to the animals. And fish farming is probably the worst because most fish eat fish. So you have to raise feeder fish or collect feeder fish to give to the fish that you're trying to grow. And it's even more wasteful process because you basically got to give protein to the animal to make protein. There aren't too many fish that can live on plant food. And so a lot of times, you're, like I said, taking fish to feed the fish. Well, that means you're also taking some fish out of the environment to feed your farming fish. And that means that, once again, you may be reducing the population of the feeder fish by, capturing them or fishing them or by taking them and then feeding them to the fish that you're farming. So these are all environmental issues that have to be considered. And it's one of the reasons why, like I said, that the vegetarians and vegans do that. They also, of course, are trying to stop the injury to the animals. But like I said, the environment of food is something to think about since we, do have a tendency to be meat eaters in this country. Okay, take care.